Stafford County Commission provides us $1 million for economic development. So as the county grows, we will see some, if they keep the current system, we'll see some increase in support. But that's from the growth of the county. It's not because we're increasing taxes. What we've done to increase our revenue that allows us to hire another person is we've increased revenue largely through grant-oriented projects. So the work that goes along with those, the two of them have been the Healthy Communities Initiative through Kansas Health Foundation, and another one is the Specialty Crop Block Grant through the Kansas Department of Agriculture, which has allowed us to initiate a program that created 5 vegetable growing businesses in Stafford County. Those have been two big ones that have both created some revenue, but also more work that I needed help with. And we've also received a housing grant recently that is going to allow us to build duplexes and rent those out. And that will be part of what continues to support economic development in the future as well.
Sydney Blanton has also come with Carolyn today, the program director for Stafford County EcoDevo. Sydney, give us your background. I like this. We got a city girl out here in the country right now. Welcome to the Golden Belt.
Yeah, I love it here. I'm just glad to be here in this rural area. It's different from Wichita. I grew up in Wichita, and I went to Wichita State University, where I just recently graduated with majors in entrepreneurship and management. And while I was there, I competed 4 years for the WSU rowing team. So go Shockers for that.
Got a crew member here. All right.
Yep. And involved in a lot in Student Activities Council and with the Alumni Association. I was president of Shockers Forever, which is a part of the student alumni group connected to the Alumni Association. So alumni is big, and we're trying to bring that here with Stafford County.
We're definitely going to exploit that experience.
Well, because, I mean, that's one of the things, Carolyn, and we'll talk about that in just a moment, some of the strategies that you're using through entrepreneurship. If you go to college and you know, that's your major, entrepreneurship, what are some of the areas that you really focus on, Sydney, when, you're going through a major like that?
Going through a major like that, I just focus on...
Probably plenty of leadership in there as well, right?
There's bunch of leadership in everything, through everything I did at WSU, but I think the big focus was what are you passionate about and what are you capable of doing? And the big thing I took from my major is that you can be an entrepreneur, which is what I'm kind of trying to do here as part of economic development, is growing economic development and growing Stafford County through that knowledge of entrepreneurship, not necessarily starting my own business, but helping growth in other ways.
Carolyn Dunn with us, Sydney Blanton here on the program. You know, the thing I've always liked about you, Carolyn, you think outside the box sometimes, and everybody's got their standard, okay, this is the way we've got to grow our economy, this is the way we've got to retain people in our... You're going about it a little bit different. I mean, it's not completely out of the box, but talk about how you're looking at youth attraction, entrepreneurship as an economic development strategy.
Right. It might be a little different than what people traditionally think of as economic development. They may traditionally think of business recruiting. And we do that when the opportunity presents itself. But this isn't necessarily something I've come up with as my own outside of the box idea. It is research based, and we can look at some other communities in Kansas and elsewhere in the Midwest that have had success using a more entrepreneurship driven strategy. But that's where we feel like the best bang for the buck can come from.
You've got some numbers,
I do have some
because there's numbers. I always put. Carolyn's always got to say, no, I just didn't come up with this. I was driving through the county. Well, maybe this will work. No, you've got some pretty good numbers here, Carolyn.
Right. One of the studies that we draw upon came from MIT, and it describes where the jobs come from. So 55% come from business expansion, 44% from startups, and just 1% from relocations. And also, some of those tend to be in those ultra large companies, and we're just not going to be successful in recruiting that. Another element of that study was that they estimate at any given time there's about 300 site selection deals going on around the country, and at the same time there's about 300,000 economic development entities vying for those 300 deals. Again, it's not too likely that a place of our size is going to be particularly successful in that. So we're probably going to be a lot more successful in working with what we've got, trying to incrementally expand 1 or 2 jobs with an existing business, or maybe working with someone that's interested in starting one from scratch. We have this data that tells us that's where the jobs come from, and
Right.
it wasn't until recently that I really sat down and put pencil to paper and started quantifying where jobs have come from in Stafford County in the last year and a half or so, and I came up with 35 job creations that came from restaurants starting up. Stafford Mercantile was one of our more visible business startups. It created 3 full and a couple part-time jobs. We have an electrical contractor that was a young adult that from the region that decided to start a business. Even Sydney with economic development is an example.
You count too, Sydney. Okay.
Yeah.
We worked hard for that one.
Okay.
We're counting it.
Okay.
We have a hairdresser. Our school has added a preschool position, and is Stafford's adding one related to their entrepreneurship program. You just add all these things up, and pretty soon you've come up with 35 jobs, and it's not maybe as visible and maybe what we think of as traditional economic development. The proverbial small manufacturer that everyone would like to recruit, but ultimately that's the number of jobs that we got. It was roughly equivalent to what one of those small manufacturing businesses might have brought. So I think that we're finding through experience that that research-based data is valid.
I like one of these things that who are these people, and well, a lot of times they're right under our noses, right?
Right. A lot of times people will tell me, "Oh, a majority of our people are senior citizens." And I say, if you think about when you go to school and all the people you see there, your teachers, especially kids, they'll say that a majority of our population is senior citizens. Well, no, they're not. We do tend a little older than other parts of the state. For example, I think our statistics are that 20% of the population in Stafford County is 65 and older, and in Kansas it's about 13%. But a majority of our people are of working age and even kids. 25% of our population is under the age of 18, and there's maybe where our biggest opportunity lies in communicating with them that they're valued, that they would be a valued part of the community if they chose to live here as an adult, and to show them opportunities that they might not otherwise know exist in developing whatever interest they have into a career.
You have already started to introduce young people to entrepreneurship through some of the summer camps and classes that you have had. And you're really focusing on the young people. I guess that's kind of where Sydney comes in. She's going to be working with 4th through 8th graders to open them up and show them entrepreneurship and what they can do. Because you just don't have to go out and say you're going to be a fireman or something like nothing against a fireman, Mike Napolitano, nothing about that. But think outside the box, do something like that.
Right. Well, as you've been very good to host and be a part of our entrepreneurship camp the last couple of years, that was a way that we kind of got the ball rolling.
I love the commercials that they had that those kids did.
Well, yes, they came in here and they made commercials for their own, the business that they developed over that 2 or 3 day period. But we think that there's maybe opportunity in expanding upon that and letting them develop that idea over the course of a year as opposed to that 3-day camp. And now that Sydney's here and has her own education and experience to draw upon in entrepreneurship, it's a really good fit. She's able to incorporate this into an after-school program that'll continue through the year. You might tell us a little bit about what kind of things you're doing.
We actually started with after-school program in August. So the first week that school started, we started the entrepreneurship program, and we do it once a week. And so far, we're in Stafford schools and St. John Hudson. So teaching 2 schools, and the plan is the first semester, the fall semester, we want to really show them what entrepreneurship is and introduce them to entrepreneurship and start their idea creations. And then the second semester, really form those ideas and brainstorm off each other and work with each other to really solidify what they could do in the summer. And by May, Memorial Weekend, we want to present their plans, their ideas, their businesses at Jubilee. So it'll be a fun time to show what they've learned and picked up.
What kind of participation have you been able to get so far?
It's been great. Actually, yesterday, usually we have about 7 in each class show up. And yesterday, there's about 14, and they had to come take some kids out because it was getting to be a lot. But it's been great. They've been spreading the word and sharing with their friends. So,
what are some? Go ahead, Carolyn.
No, when I think of what Sydney's doing here, it makes me always remember a panel I got to be on one year on the subject of rural development, and one of the other panelists was from Arkansas, and she was finishing up med school with the plan of going back to her home community and being a general practice physician. Well, that's a dilemma that a lot of rural towns have. There's the shortage of doctors, and she related that for years and years, the medical profession has tried to get people, or we've tried to get people in the medical profession interested in coming to rural areas, and it doesn't work. So why not get people in rural areas interested in being in the medical profession? And her program had started in middle school years and had given her some exposure to that field in simple ways as job shadowing early on, but it got progressively more sophisticated, and she had the opportunity to be a part of a surgery when she was in high school, and she explained how she felt like that had given her all of the right preparation at each stage of the way to be successful. So when she had the opportunity to take all the right preparatory classes so that she was competitive to get into the college that she wanted to, and competitive to get into med school. And then when she was in med school, she knew what she was getting herself into. She wasn't there for the prestige of it, as she thought that maybe some of her colleagues were who had gone to much more prestigious prep programs. The significance here is, if we want to see more of that, if we want to see more of that kind of talent come to rural areas, it's not too early to start a program in middle school like Sydney's doing that gives them exposure to the ideas that they might want to build upon to create a career. How often do you see someone as an adult that's successful in whatever field that they're in, and they'll say, I've always been interested in fill in the blank. So our goal here is to kind of connect those dots and let them see that they can be interested in that thing and turn it into a career if they so choose.
And turn it into a career where they grew up at, too.
Exactly.
The greatest thing is, I was asking some students in Stafford yesterday what they've learned so far, and their response was that they can start now, and that they are capable of starting a business now and doing it now and not waiting until they're 20 or 30, but 10, 11, 12.
And this is something that we've already had over at Stafford tell me about, I can't remember what it is exactly called. Yes. I toured it, but.
It's called the Stafford Entrepreneurship and Economic Development Center, SEED Seed Center.
No wonder I didn't remember. It was way too long.
The Seed Center. Okay. And this, in the case of the Stafford schools, may be a perfect preparation for that program that's available to them in high school. But what the Seed Center program provides is an opportunity for students to develop a business plan and actually develop a business during school hours as they're learning math and English and all of their other core subjects. It's not a simulation. The kids that are a part of that program are actually starting small businesses and paying taxes and paying rent to the school, and it's an impressive program. And we're just trying to expand upon some of those principles that we think over the long term will have an impact in our county.
And your youth get out, and I guess you're engaged in the community with the adults as well.
Yes.
So that has to be positive.
Well, some of the things that we're doing in terms of adult development, I suppose, our leadership program. Sydney's also a part of Leadership Golden Belt. I guess it kind of boils back to the idea that people create businesses. Businesses don't just happen. People create them.
It's just fun to see, 14-year-old kids out there working with adults and getting involved in the business community at the same time. I kind of jumped around on you on that, but Sydney, what goals that you have for your program that you have going on by the end of the year? What do you want them to learn out of this?
Well, the biggest one is that they can start now and they can start failing now, and failure leads to success. Sometimes your first business is a failure, but keep trying and don't give up, and they can do anything they really want to. by summer, I want them starting their businesses. I want them really experimenting and seeing what they can do. And there's some that are excited and they do have ideas, so I can't wait to see what they do.
Sydney Blanton with us. She is Program Director for Stafford County EcoDevo, and the Director, Carolyn Dunn, with us today. Tell me about Healthy Communities Initiative.
Well, this is also something that Sydney is going to be taking a leading role in, and we're going to find some ways to even build on the work that she's doing with youth in the context of this program. What the premise behind it is, it's a program that we were selected for through Kansas Health Foundation, and the purpose of it is to improve the health of our public through encouraging better nutrition and more physical activity. Our local group we're working with health department, schools. You can chime in. I'm going to forget somebody important.
Businesses.
So we have a local leadership team that has been discussing what do we think that is the most important thing to focus on in our local area. And the conclusion that they came to is making our towns more walkable and bikeable, encouraging physical activity in that way.
How does that have to do with economic development?
Well, yes. A lot of people might say, what is the connection? And the reason is that if people are less healthy, they're spending more money on health care, and they're also less productive in their work as a general rule, and therefore they tend to be less prosperous. Healthier communities, healthier people, healthier communities tend to be more prosperous because they spend less money on health care, they are more productive in their work. And the statistic also is that, we're not any different really than the nation or the rest of Kansas, but nearly 2/3 of the population is either overweight or obese. And though the obesity is a leading driver of the 4 leading causes of chronic illness and premature death. So if we can kind of address the obesity issue, we're addressing the most important component of public health.
I was just going to say that our goal is to make it easy to be active in addressing the small issues such as cracked sidewalks and so forth.
Right.
And when she was mentioning how we want to tie that into our youth development and youth program, we do that by engaging them in social entrepreneurship and teaching them how you can be social entrepreneurs. And yesterday in my class, that's what we did. We had them map out and draw out their routes to school. And I was surprised, everyone in the class either walks to school or bikes to school. So they can tell me, is there a scary dog? Is there a scary person? What do we need to be aware of?
This is, you get a lot of coordination with the schools on these events?
Yes, the schools have been wonderful to work with. In terms of when we've wanted to survey students to kind of get an idea of what their attitudes are about living in the area, some of the things that are leading to the work that we're doing in trying to cultivate those citizens of tomorrow today, that we've done some surveying. We've worked with them in the after-school program. There's some existing efforts to develop trails around the school, and we're tying that into our larger Healthy Communities Initiative work. 2 of the board members on economic development are school superintendents. So it really, I think, speaks to the idea that the people in the school system understand that the growth of the population of the community overall is very directly tied to their ability to continue as a school.
Carolyn Dunn, Sydney Blanton with us here for a couple more minutes today on the Focus on Stafford County program. Last time you were on here last month, we talked about tax credits. When you attract people to a new community, you probably need to have some place for them to live. That'd be a good idea. And then you guys have that. We talked about it last week, and tax credits still available in Stafford County.
So true. We do have community service tax credits available. They will be the proceeds raised from that will be used to construct housing in Stafford County, rental housing. The way this works is an individual or business can choose to contribute to Stafford County economic development. In turn, they will get essentially a voucher for a tax credit on their Kansas income taxes. So if they, by way of example, contributed $1,000, they could get a 70% reduction or $700 reduction of their Kansas tax liability. There are also some credits available that are at the 75% rate. That the value of the contribution to economic development can also be reduced from their, or taken as a deduction from their federal income taxes. So in the end, the point is you can choose to support a local cause with very little, possibly very little difference in what you'd already be paying in taxes. Essentially, you get to kind of choose where your taxes are going.
Right.
And
it's the best way I've heard anyone put it, Carolyn. Thank you.
So we'll be raising $214,000 through that. So there's good opportunity for those who would like to participate in that to contribute.
Talking with
I forgot.
Carolyn
I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
It's something about this room in here, okay? It's Carolyn Dunn and Sydney Blanton with us today here on Focus on Stafford County. Just a little bit longer ago. Anything else today? Sydney, thanks for coming in. I can just see the energy in that vehicle coming up here. I like two people that are passionate about what they're doing. Anything else going on? Good news, Stafford County, anything before we go today?
Don't forget to visit us at Oktoberfest. We will have a booth, so come meet us.
That is coming up. I got the wiener dog races. I've already got information about this. So is there? Can I gamble on the dogs, or is this not going on? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You know what? I can see that going over quite well.
I don't know why I say the things I do sometimes, but anyway, that is one of the big things. The wiener dog races are taking place.
Yes.
Carolyn.
I will put in one other plug that if anyone is interested in tax credits, that the way to go about that is to contact our office directly. You can call our office at 620-549-3527, 620-549-3527.
Thanks, Carolyn. Have a great day, everyone. News is next on KVGB.
The voice of the Golden Belt. 15